So welcome back, SBC listeners. So glad to be back with another episode today. This one's going to be a little different. I think that there's some event coming up soon, but I just can't remember what it is. Let's see if I can figure it out in episode 70 of the Student Pilot Cast. Let's talk.
Chandler Tower, Cherokee 4121 Tango, so Chandler Air Service. We have Zulu, and we'd like a south departure, please.
What does it take to be an angel? Where does the sun go when it sleeps? I should find out. It isn't written in the stars.
Oh, that's right. Oshkosh. Yay, Airventure's coming up. I hope you're headed there, but if not, I'll try and bring a little bit of the flavor of it if I can. So for today's episode, I want to bring you up to speed on where I was at in my training, let you in on some Oshkosh information about my plans, lay out some plans for Airventure and the next few episodes, so a little bit about the podcast, and make a big announcement. So let's get through this quickly so we can all get back to finalizing our plans and packing for Airventure. All right, so first I'm going to start with a training update. So if you've been listening, you know I got back to training after like 11 years off early last year, and the plan was to hit it pretty hard for a while. I had just completed my flight review to get current again, and it was time to start my instrument rating, start the training for that anyway. Again, I was training at Red Rock Flight School, a Part 61 school at Falcon Field Airport in Mesa, Arizona. That's KFFZ. And I was excited to get going. The last time I was under the hood was like way back in 2008, I think, when I was finishing up my private training. And I had heard all kinds of stories and things about the instrument rating. Some things I heard were kind of scary, and some were kind of exciting. But in all, I was all in and ready to go. I would do some ground training, a bunch of flying under the hood, or in my case, foggles. And got to remind me to tell you about my modified old man foggles that I use, but we'll save that for another episode. I would end up doing some of my simulated instrument on a basic training device or simulator, and I'll talk about that a little bit, but it'll mostly be just me, my account of flying the sim, as it's very, very different than flying an airplane, as you can imagine. So unless I was using video, which I wasn't, it doesn't make sense to share details of that, but I'll let you know what my experience was like doing that. I'll take you, as usual, all the way to my instrument rating check ride, and then we'll start tackling what would come after that, whatever that may be. So you can expect the next little while on the podcast to take you mostly through my instrument rating, which I hope will be interesting to you all. I know I was loving it, so I hope you'll love it too. I'd love to hear your questions or suggestions on what I should talk about and what I should cover from my experiences going through this training. So if there's anything that you want to hear about, please, please, please let me know, and I will include that in future episodes. The instrument rating is widely thought to be the most cerebral of the ratings, the one that makes you think the most. And so far, I tend to agree. I think there's a lot of philosophy and study of human nature in the CFI training. But to me, that's a lot less technical and vast and kind of difficult to grasp than what you cover in the instrument rating. So yeah, so far in my young flying career, the instrument has been the biggest brain challenge for the vast amount and complexity of the material. So yeah, I was excited to tackle it, and I'm excited to bring you along too. So let's talk a little bit about Airventure. So I'm going to be at Airventure from Tuesday the 23rd through Saturday the 27th. And I'm also going to be an adjunct or helper, if you will, for Lightspeed Aviation. So a lot of the week, you'll find me around the Lightspeed tent or the Lightspeed booth. I should be there probably from Wednesday through Friday during the day, maybe a little more. I don't know. So feel free to stop by and say hi. I would love to see you. The Lightspeed booth is number 259, and it's just north of Hangar B. It's right next to the hangar, though. Lightspeed is wanting to gather some comfort information and feedback from showgoers. So while you're there, if you have time, come by and find me, and I'll help you get started. Participate in the survey where you can try on various headsets, theirs and competitors and other ones and give feedback. They're doing some market research and some stuff like that. Could be kind of fun. And like I said, I'd love to see you. So come by if you can. You can also check out their new headset, which is the Delta Zulu. It's got some great features. I've been flying with it for months, and I really love it. So you can come by and check that out if you haven't already. And best of all, if you come by, we'll get to hang out a little bit. And that's kind of what it's all about. If you're not there, don't worry. I'll try to get the flavor of the event and talk to a lot of folks, and I'll pass along to you what I find out, and hopefully that'll be interesting and helpful for you as well. I'll have a lot less time this year than I usually do when I'm at Oshkosh to gather content and so on. I even other years I've always felt rushed. There's always too much. I've got too many appointments for interviews and too many things to see, people to talk to, and all of that. So I always feel rushed. But it could get even more interesting this year because I'm going to be spending so much time at the Lightspeed tent. So wish me luck. And like I said, come by. Love to see you. At least it would. Maybe I wouldn't do as much walking as I normally do, but maybe I'll get to meet as many people as I normally do. So come on by. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exhausting and it's going to be amazing as usual. And I'm really looking forward to it. So, as far as the podcast goes, I may squeeze in my first instrument rating training flight for next Tuesday's episode, and that'll be my first full day at the show. So I'll be running around doing all sorts of stuff at Airventure, but I could schedule it to come out then if I can get it edited and finished before then. So you may get that next, and it won't be Tuesday, but we'll talk about that later. It'll probably be Wednesday. But that should come out. And then after that, hopefully we'll have a bunch of stuff from Oshkosh that we'll be able to share with you as well. And that might not be regular. It might not be once a week. We might release some things on the podcast feed more often than once a week. It depends on our Wi-Fi access and when we can get things out. Like I said, Oshkosh week is exhausting. Lots going on. So bear with me if it does take me a whole week to get the next one out. But we certainly won't skip a week or anything like that. I'm sure that I'll be publishing a couple of features in the weeks after Oshkosh as well before we get back to the regular scheduled instrument training. But it all depends on what I'm able to get, like I said, and what I can put together in the short time that I have. So anyway, we'll see how it goes, but I'll definitely be releasing some stuff about and around Oshkosh. All right, and that leads me to the big announcement I was talking about, and that's that I'm going to be moving the podcast release day to Wednesday. I know it's shocking. Everybody's probably, well, actually, that's not the important part. The important part is the reason I'm moving it to Wednesday. So I'm actually going to bring in a special guest to help me make this announcement. And so Tiffany Wolf, I'd like you to come in, and why don't you introduce yourself to the Student Pilot Cast audience?
Hey, Student Pilot Cast. This is Pilot Tiffany from the Pilot Cast way back in the day. And I'm so excited to be here with Bill again because we have a big announcement.
I bet some of my listeners, my old time listeners, probably remember the Pilot Cast. So you'll remember Tiffany really well. We were partners in crime, I guess, maybe without the crime. Hopefully, I don't know, but we had a good time on the Pilot Cast. And why don't you tell them what we're doing, Tiffany?
Okay, so we're back with a similar style podcast, and we are calling it the Flightline Podcast.
Flightline
Right?
Podcast, baby. Yeah.
So a little bit of hangar talk. Hopefully being able to tell some really wonderful stories and share adventures with you guys. I've been traveling a ton for work, and I get to do that in a beautiful Citation Mustang, which will be flying to Oshkosh this year. I'm excited about that.
Super
And
nice. I'm a little jealous.
yeah, it, it's pretty- it's it's a little bit different than a 172. So it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to go
I
back, but
I flew a 182 in there, once as pilot in command and once as a passenger. And I think your experience might be a little bit different in the
this
citation.
is true. This is true. But
Yeah, this
so
time and many other times I'll be flying in a human mailing tube. So I think you're still going to have a lot better time than I will flying in.
a human mailing tube. That's
Uh,
funny. I did just
a jet, a big jet that I'm not in the cockpit of.
got it. Got it. I thought we were going back to like the 1940s when they would put stamps on their kids and put them in the mail. I was envisioning you, Bill, with a couple of stamps all over you and some box in the back of a train.
Well, that's kind of what you feel like in the airlines these days. So, I
The
mean, they
what?
might as well stick a
No,
stamp
just
on
kidding.
you.
Just kidding. I jumped on a plane recently for a vacation and I looked at my ticket and I went, wait, there's double digits here? 12? There's 12 seats?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so I guess that's important too. You're going to be at OSH, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
I
we'll be
think,
gathering information and content and ideas all over the place, right?
yeah, I'm really
Should be able
excited
to
about
bring some
that.
cool stuff in the new podcast. What do you think?
I think it's wonderful. Last year, I had a friend. Her son was excited to learn how to start flying, and he's just about ready to take his check ride now. Crazy. But he came out to Oshkosh.
Well, you have to make sure
and-
he's listening to the Student Pilot Cast. That'll
Oh,
help him.
totally. He will be. But it was fun. He came out to Oshkosh and him and his dad, and I was kind of telling him some of the tips and tricks, and they're looking at me like, "We're just here to see the airplanes." I'm like, okay. There's a lot more to that. The next day, they gave me a quick call and said, "Okay, we're on tip number 10." So they had taken it into account. Like, no, there's a lot more to Oshkosh than just rolling in your sneakers and sitting on the grass all day. So I'm excited to be able to bring some of those stories.
I know some people that work up to it by walking like 15,000 steps every day because when you're at Airventure, if you haven't been before, I think you probably walk about 20,000 steps a day.
Oh,
So-
for sure.
Sometimes people work up to it. I'm not saying I do that, but
Yeah.
there might be some people that do that.
That's probably
No, it's going
not
to
a
be
bad
fun.
idea.
And
From antiques to warbirds is a bit of a trek.
it's a long one. And when you're waking up early and you're trying to see if you can grab a ticket in the Ford Trimotor because you didn't think ahead and you have to go every morning all the way to Warbirds from camping,
Oh,
that
my
is a
God.
long, long walk at 5 in the morning. And again, not saying this happened to me, but every morning trying to do it and not having any tickets left.
Really?
It's a lot of walking.
My God. Did you actually get a flight in?
No, we ended up going in the Bell helicopter. This is in 2022, but we never got the Trimotor. They were booked every day. We just weren't quick enough. But
Wow.
anyway, we are gonna be gathering some information and having some fun at Airventure, and we're gonna bring as much as we can to you. And our releases at the beginning might be a little haphazard because we're gonna be in Wisconsin, and we'll try and get things out when we can.
The
But
Wi-Fi
we'll
is
try-
really good there.
Yeah, it's really good.
No.
But we'll get some stuff out and
Yeah.
we'll start releasing on a regular schedule on Tuesdays, like I said. And so I'll be moving Student Pilot Cast to Wednesdays. So it's going to be fun, right? We're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that there's a lot of great stories out there and wonderful people and incredible different industries that we get to explore. And so I'm looking forward to bringing on some different guests. And actually, I'm also looking forward to trying to hit up more air shows this year since now I feel like we have to. Since
I
we're
know.
the flight
I know. I mean, somebody's got to do it.
I know,
Flightline
I know.
podcast might as well be it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So our first episode will just be kind of a reintroduction to the both of us and what we're going to be doing with Flightline. We'll release that hopefully this week, right before Oshkosh. But there's going to be a little trick in there. We're going to release some Oshkosh hacks for those of you who are going. So We'll have a few hacks in there to make your experience better, more interesting, maybe a little easier, maybe not
Life-saving.
25,000 steps a day. I don't know, something like that. But Tiffany has some stuff up her
We'll
sleeve.
tell you where the
So-
coolest place is at Oshkosh, and it is not actually on the flight line.
But you'll find out about it on the Flightline podcast.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Oh
All
my
right.
gosh, Bill.
So,
I'm high-fiving you
look-
virtually.
So anyway, yeah, we'll get that out this week, and obviously, and then we'll get you some stuff right after. So we're excited to be going again together with the Flightline podcast, and we'll see you there soon. Awesome. So, well, there you go. Because of Osh, my releases might get a little haphazard for the next week or two, but it'll probably be more, not less, than usual. And Tiffany and I wanted to get the Flightline podcast announced to you guys. So head over to flightlinepodcast.com, or in the next few days, just check your favorite podcast players for the first episode, which should release soon. Like I said, we wanted to get that announced before we headed out to the show, and we'd love for you to check it out. We'll be releasing new Flightline podcasts, as we mentioned, on Tuesdays. And also, as I mentioned, I'll be switching to releasing new SPC episodes on Wednesdays, like today's. So remember, they're two different shows. So subscribe to the Flightline podcast separately from this one. Now, as usual, I love hearing from all of you. I've been getting a bunch of messages from listeners since I've started releasing episodes again, so I really appreciate that. All of you, really sincerely, I appreciate it. So please keep the feedback and the stories coming. I love hearing about your training and your airplanes and your airports, your adventures, all of it. It's always about the people. We always talk about that, right? It's all about the people. And while I invite you along into my training and into my cockpit with me, it's only fair that I get some stories too, right? So reach out if you want to. You can find me on Twitter or X using @BillWill. That's Bravo India Lima Lima Whiskey India Lima. And through email, I'm bill@studentpilotcast.com or bill@flightlinepodcast.com. Either one will work. Or just use the contact link at the top of the website at studentpilotcast.com. If you want to reach out to Tiffany, she's at tiffany@flightlinepodcast.com. And I'm sure she'd love to hear from you too. So it's time for another Airventure. I can't wait. And I'm excited to see any of you that are going as well. We mentioned this in the first episode of Flightline once we release it, but Tiffany and I will be at the Lightspeed tent or booth on Wednesday at 4 o'clock if anyone wants to come by and say hi. So please, please do. We would love to see you again if we've met before, or meet you for the first time if we haven't. And while I'm bringing you the beginning of my instrument training in the podcast, I'm currently working on additional certs in real life, in real time, additional certs and ratings even now. So the training never stops. I know I'm going to have a great time at Oshkosh, but I'll be looking forward to getting back and doing some more of my flying too. I'm going to be an even better pilot.